Tom, where did the early push towards professional golf come from? Was it yourself or was it your family or what?
Well, my early days as a golfer started with my father. My father was a very good amateur player. He was a scratch player. He played in the U.S. Amateur and played in several events around the state of Missouri and Kansas. And he was well known as a good player. And he taught me the basics of the game from the beginning. He loves the game. He still loves the game. He's a 5 handicap still. He's 62 years old, and I'll never forget really one of the great moments when I was a youngster is when I just learned the game. I was 6 or 7 years old, and we went on a vacation out in Colorado and played a public course out there that had a burn that crossed right in front of the tee from about 25 yards to 75 yards, a fairly large burn, and the starter looked at me and asked my father, "Do you intend for him to play?" And my father said, "Yes." And I said, and my father said, "Well, what's the matter?" And he says, "Well, I'm not going to let him play. He'll slow up play too much." So my father said, "I'll make you a deal. If my son can hit it over that burn, can he play?" And the starter looked at me and then looked back to my father, and he kind of laughed and said, "Sure." So I grabbed a 3-wood, old hickory shafted 3-wood, and I teed it up, and I was nervous. I popped it right over there about 125 yards, and the guy did a double take like that, and he said, "Well, he can go ahead and play."
Would you say that was your first pressure shot, Tom?
That was my first pressure shot, no question about it.
What were your early thoughts when you became a professional? Did you find that there was a danger that you might be overwhelmed by it, or did you feel within yourself that you had the kind of game that could not only survive but go on and make some money?
Well, I had to learn to play golf on the tour. I practiced quite hard. My last year in college, I practiced quite hard because I knew that I was going to turn professional, and I just had to know whether I could play out on the professional circuit or not. I loved the game enough that I felt that I'd work very hard at it, and I think that's what really got me going on the tour, is that I had a lot of time to work on it, and I worked until it was dark, and I worked until I was the last one on the practice tee, and until I got it what I thought was right. And of course, the game of golf, you never get totally right, but I worked and worked on it, and finally developed my swing into where I felt it was consistent, and I felt that I could play the game on the tour. I always was good around the greens, a short game player, and a good putter. I developed my bunker play basically on the tour, different sands that we play here versus, say, in Florida or artificial sands. We play some places where it's very soft, but I still have a lot of learning to do and a lot of experimenting to do in my golf swing. If you ever stop trying to learn about your own golf game or your own swing, I think you'll fail to achieve success.
How much, though, of success on the American tour is a combination of temperament and swing making and shot making, Tom?
Well, the temperament is probably the most important thing in to play professional golf or any type of golf. Bobby Jones, the great amateur, was, as a youngster, a very hot-tempered person. And he learned to control it and play it as a game, but played with the intensity of life or death within that game that has limits to it. I remember a story about my father, getting back to my father, who as a youngster had a very hot temper, and I've never seen him throw a club. But I had heard stories from him and from other people who played golf with him as a youngster that he used to let him fly, just helicopters, just everywhere. One day he was playing with some people, and they got sick and tired of it. So they made a pact that if he threw a golf club, they would retaliate. And the way they did it, it took him 17 holes to hit a 9-iron fat short of the 17th green, and he let one fly, and then everybody else in the foursome took a club out of their bag and just helicoptered right at his shins and ran him off the golf course and said, "If you ever act like that again, we'll never play with you if you keep on acting like that." Yeah. He never threw a club yet.
It must be difficult, though, playing on the tour, to try to maintain your love of the game, because clearly you have an affection for golf as well as treating it as a way of making a living. How difficult is it to do that amidst the cut and thrust of perhaps the most difficult professional area of all to make money, Tom?
Well, it was the love of the game was inspired by my father and by the stories that I read about the great contests, the great matches in the history of golf. O.B. Keeler and Bobby Jones, Herbert Warren Wynn, stories about old Tom Morris,
yes.
and young Tom Morris, and of course being able to watch Sam Snead a little bit on television. Never getting to see Ben Hogan, but hearing stories from certain people and hearing stories about the famous Byron Nelson, who was a very close friend of mine and has helped me quite a bit in my golf game. Hearing stories about what a great player he was, and probably was the best player at the time he played who ever played the game.
Yes.
And those type of stories inspire me because I still have a lot to learn about my golf game and a lot to improve upon.
You really feel that, Tom? I mean,
Absolutely.
you've
There's
climbed
no
a lot of
question about
mountains, but you still feel that you're learning.
No question about it. There's if you stop learning about the game, see, every day you go out, almost every day you go out, and there's maybe just a bit different feel. You might be working on a certain key element of the takeaway. I like to work on certain elements or certain key thoughts. Keep it very simple when I'm under competition. I don't want to feel where I'm. I don't want to feel confused. I don't want to feel impaired by too many thoughts.
Yes.
And I enjoy. If you have just one particular thought in mind, it makes it a lot easier to play.
I think Tom Watson's an absolute superstar. I think he'll go down in annuals. He'll have to hurry because to ever win as many majors tournaments as Jack Nicklaus, because he's won, what, 17 or 18 now? Marvelous, absolutely great. But Tom wants to be the best player in the world, and I think he will continue to, well, he has been this is the fourth year he's been the greatest player in the world. And I think he'll continue to because he wants to so very, very badly. Excuse me, and he wants to do that bad enough to put forth the effort to do it.
Yet through it all, one gets the feeling that in some ways you're a reluctant star, that you don't really enjoy all the glamour, in inverted commas, of tournament golf. Would that be a fair comment?
I think that there's certain truth in that, but I think you feel like, I think most of the stars feel at times they're pinned in. They're in a cage. And I think it's one of the prices you must pay. You must be able to live in that cage. But there must be times you must be able to escape it and unlock the key, unlock the lock, and get out of that cage. And that's something that I try to do with my family and private lives back at home in the States. And I try to keep it in perspective. I think there are a lot of demands in my time that are warranted. And there are other demands of my time that I have to say no to. And it's difficult for me to say no, and when I do, I know that I don't make friends, or I offend some people, but I have to keep it in perspective.
Everybody wants a little piece of Tom Watson's time, but see, there's only one Tom Watson, and there's hundreds of little pieces. Now, see, a guy comes up and asks for a minute of his time, but that sounds like a simple enough request. But if he gives in to everybody, he has no time for himself. So sometimes you darn near have to be, it's not rude, but you have to say, gee, I'd really appreciate it if you just, I need to do something, you know.
How much of that, how much of that peace and quiet do you yearn for when you're away on the tour? Because doing things like this, everybody wants a little of your time. Everybody wants to talk with you, autographs, personal appearances. It must be, at the back of your mind, you must say, I really look forward to the time when I don't have to go anywhere or do anything, but just be there.
Mm-hmm. I remember the way it was on the tour before, in 1971 and 72, and really about through 76. But I don't think I'd trade right now for that. I do know when I get home, I'm besieged by several phone calls. Seems like every 5 or 10 minutes, and requests to my time from local people, and again, my refuge is the golf course at times, where I go out and practice and work on my game.
Away from the phones.
Away from the phones, away from the future responsibilities, so to speak.
Yes.
But I do have a business manager, and he certainly has been a great boon for me. My wife certainly handles a lot of it. Linda does a tremendous amount of effort. She puts a lot of effort in to making my life as easy as possible as far as being able to play the game.
Yes.
Taking a lot of the responsibilities. She's my secretary, my travel agent, my sleeping partner.
Tom, how much of an oasis in your busy life is the domestic situation, wife and youngster?
Well, the only oasis, basically, there are two oases. One is the golf course. When I'm on the playing field, when I'm on the golf course in competition, that's basically a place where I can get away from it all. I'm certainly under pressure, and it's something I'm enjoying. Something I enjoy to do best besides being with my family. And that's my other refuge, is with my family and my baby girl now, Margaret Elizabeth. She's about 10 months now, and it's just a tremendous pleasure to watch her grow up and try to teach her things, and see the smiles and the giggles and the trials and tribulations of growing up all over again, remembering when you're a child.
I know that you cared so much about that when your youngster was born, that I think you opted out of the Ryder Cup
Yes.
to be there. I don't mean as a criticism, but just simply as an observation. It shows the extent to which you cared about it all.
Well, the Ryder Cup certainly is important, but a firstborn is more important than anything.
Tom Watson was born in Kansas City, Missouri on the 4th of September 1949 and has been a professional since 1971. A protege of Byron Nelson, Watson is confidently tipped to be golf's superstar of the 80s. His 3 British Open titles and his 2 United States Masters bear witness to his superb shot-making ability. Those who watched his incredible round of 64 at Muirfield on his way to winning the 1980 British Open knew then that they were watching one of the greatest rounds of golf ever seen in a major British championship. Amidst the fierce cut and thrust of competitive golf, Tom Watson's smile is as noticeable as his meticulous sportsmanship and elegant swing. The pressman who called him the gentleman of golf certainly knew his man.
Tom Watson, to me, is the absolute perfectionist striker. Not so much a golfer as someone who wants to hit every single shot perfectly. And at times, I think he's achieved that. I would say he's not won as many events as he should have won, and I'm talking about the major events. He could have won the US Masters on 4 occasions. But the perfect golf swing. Tom manages to clear the body out of the way. The right side clears backwards, while at the same time the club swings up. It must be remembered the golf swing is upright, but with the body out of the way. And certainly Turnberry, I would say that is the greatest I've ever seen anyone strike a golf ball when Tom Watson won there. But I saw him only a year later, and his golf swing wasn't the same. So I would say Tom Watson, looking for perfection, can get it exactly right, but I wouldn't say his golf swing is completely set for all time. I saw him a year later, as I say, and he had gone into quite a different position. But it must be remembered, he's also a competitor. He is quite in the top 3 anyway of the best putters on the US circuit. So if you put together that marvelous putting with occasions when his golf is absolutely brilliant, and of course it's never bad. So that Tom Watson must be up at the top, I would have thought, for the next 15, 20 years.
Tom Watson now with a 2-stroke lead. And he is almost the same place where Jack Nicklaus was a few moments ago. Oh, good solid stroke. Oh. The leader remains 8 under with a 2-stroke lead as he moves to the 17th tee.
And Jack Nicklaus on the tee at 18. He's had 2 pars and bogeyed the hole yesterday. He caught the fairway bunker yesterday, and this time he is in good shape. He is not aware of the difficulties of Tom Watson catching the bunker at 17.
How about that? A beautiful out. 4.5 to 5 feet.
So Jack, well below the hole. He's a good more than 35 feet and all uphill, and he has to be disappointed with that shot, Tom.
A scrambling par for Tom Watson here at 17.
This is the leader, Tom Watson, at 8 under, enjoying a 2-stroke lead. And Tom is away and would apparently be in reasonably good shape. Yes. He avoided that bunker, and he is on the fringe just about pin high.
Let's see if this one goes by as so many have this week. I think this one's going to be a little short.
That's right. He's been such a bold putter all week. Here he comes, right to left. And atop the leaderboard at Augusta National, Tom Watson. There it is.
Tom Watson is no stranger to last-round battles. He remembers vividly his duel against Jack Newton of Australia for the 1975 British Open Championship.
The final hole at Carnoustie in the playoff, it was playing downwind. Excuse me, it was playing into the wind because the previous day was downwind. It was a driver 9-iron the previous day, and on the final day we both had 2 irons for our second shots. Jack hit first, and he put it in the left bunker. And before I hit my shot, I really told myself, I said, you have to expect him to make 4, so you still have to hit a real good shot in there. And I hit it, and my caddy said, you've got it to him. You have to give it to him now. And there were Alfie Files, my caddy there. Gave me this sharp look, and he said, we've got him now, mister. And I hit a 2-iron. I hit a little bit behind it, but I hit it solidly, even though I hit it slightly behind it, and it hit just short of the green and rolled up about, I'd say 40 feet from the hole. And we walked up to the green, and anything obviously could happen. And I was telling myself, now you just make a good stroke at it, and you try to make the putt. You try to hole this putt. And I watched Jack hit his bunker shot out. It hit, the greens were a little bit wet at that time. It skipped past the hole about 12 feet. As I stood up to my putt, it was a good putt for me because it broke right to left, and it was, I really couldn't decipher whether it was uphill or downhill, but I hit a good solid putt, probably the best putt I'd struck all day, and the ball just missed going in the hole on the top side and rolled about 3 feet by. Whereupon I said, I'll finish the putt, which I did. And I remember standing over the putt, and I remember my knees could barely hold me up. Really? At the time. They could barely hold me up, and I just told myself the same thing, just keep your head down and stroke it straight back and straight through, which I did, and the ball went almost dead center in the cup. It went in the right center of the cup, and I looked at Jack, and he looked at me, and he knew what he had to do. I told my caddy when I handed him the putter, I said, now we have to expect him to make it, and we're going to the first hole. And as I looked at my caddy, he said, and I told him that, he said, "You're right, mister, you've got to do that." Again, the psychological edge of him making the putt when I think that I have the tournament won is
not switching off. Yeah.
just, you can't switch it off. You have to keep the same even, competitive type feel, the spirit in you. And when I watched him stroke the putt, it looked like it was going in the cup, but he looks like I think he just missed it to the right side of the cup. And of course, then the joy of winning the Open Championship started to hit me. But then probably the funniest thing that happened in the whole championship was the captain of the R&A was presenting us the trophy on the green. It was raining and misty, and I forget his last name. His first name was John. And obviously he'd been in the tee a little bit, and he was enjoying himself, and he got caught up in the situation probably, and he announced on the first thank yous for the help of all his committeemen, and finally he introduced me, and he said, "Now the 1975 Open champion, Tom Kite." And a roar came out of the audience. I'll never forget that, and I didn't know what to say. And what I should have said, looking back on it, I should have said, "On behalf of Tom Kite and myself, we thank you very much."
Captain, we're ready to serve lunch. Request permission to begin in-flight service.
Come around and say one morning, "I've just about had enough of this." I know that you love the game, and so far you've resisted incredibly well the pressures of being at the top. But do you think you'll recognize the moment in time when you say to yourself, "I've just about had enough of this"?
I think it goes through lots of people's heads when they start to perform poorly about retiring. But when you're at my stage, I'm thinking about, yes, what am I going to be doing beyond professional golf? I would hope to think that I could do something else. But I think it probably is going to be related to golf in some way or another. It's going to be impossible to get out of it completely. I'm not going to be a Bobby Jones in that I just retire lock, stock, and barrel. I don't think that even Jack Nicklaus will do that, although he's intimated that fact. We have a problem in the United States where the basic problem is the cart, the electric and gas-powered cart. There are no more caddies. There's no more groundswell support for the game. And we as a professional golf tour, as PGA of America, we have to start programs for youngsters to play all over the country, or else they won't play the game. It's a difficult game to learn. It takes a lot of time to play, and it takes a lot of patience to play. I've seen youngsters completely give up on the golf course, and this is what I try to tell them. I said, "You'll give up now, and you'll give up later, but once you learn that the game is full of ups and downs, you'll play the game better. You'll be a better player, and this is what life is all about, and this is what the game of golf is all about."